keep the peace.
Hello everyone and welcome to a new edition of Wag The Dog FM. This week, interesting stuff. We're going to talk about PR tools, and I just saw something passing by here in my email box, and I thought this is a great topic for this show. And so we're going to talk about new things, two tools which were launched recently here in Belgium, but available worldwide for PR people. And that's called PR Stack and PRgeeks.co. We'll go into the details, don't worry. I'll list all the links, of course, on the website. But this is about optimizing how we work day in, day out. We people in PR, we work with different tools, we work with different workflows and what have you, and all these things can now be made a bit easier, made a bit automatic, and this is what it's all about. To do that, I'll be interviewing the specialist and one of the guys who launched these tools, Frederik Vincx, a Belgian colleague, who is co-founder at Prezly. And Prezly is a system which allows you to tell stories and nicely position those social media press releases out there. So without further ado, this will be an interesting one. It's about tips and tricks and tools that we all can use day in, day out. So listen very carefully and enjoy this session of Wag The Dog FM.
Hello, Philip. Hello.
Hi Frederik. Welcome on this edition of Wag The Dog FM. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us about two great initiatives I saw coming by yesterday. So this is fresh from the press, as we say. And that's PR Geeks. One of the initiatives, and the other one is PR Stack. Now, before we get into the details, can you just give me a bit of your background? So you were born and now you're here on this episode. So what happened in between?
Indeed, in those 33 years, I spent a lot of time in front of computers. I guess maybe half of my time awake I spent in front of screens and using keyboards. And I started off as a designer. I'm trained as a designer. And the past years, I've dedicated my time to help PR teams. And together with my team, I create tools to help PR people and communications people in general. So I'm formally trained as a multimedia designer, as a geek. And then during school, I met Jesse Wijnands, who's now my partner in crime. You might know Jesse. I'm from Belgium, as you might hear from my accent. And here in Belgium, he's pretty well known. He used to be the digital strategical director of Boendewil, big communications agency here. And we studied together and always did projects together. And a few years ago, we started our first successful project. We did a lot of failed projects before. I think at a certain moment in time, we tried building a video service, and then after a few months of building, we found out that YouTube already existed. We shouldn't do that.
It's a good planning. Good planning, yeah.
Yeah, we're a bit too late. We were trying to do some YouTube thing. But then a few years back, we got the idea for Prezly, which is our company that we work in now. And we create a toolkit for communication professionals. And that's what we do day in, day out.
Yeah. Okay, and then I saw, so I'm following your newsletters and I am on your mailing list. And then I think it was yesterday I saw the mail coming in where you announced PR Stack and PR Geeks. Let's start with PR Stack. So that's at prstack.co. What is that? It's talking about crowdsourcing and PR tools and PR tips and Google Spreadsheets. So you really have to explain what you were up to with PR Stack.
Okay, let me start at the beginning. This idea was coined by Stephen Waddington. He's known as Watts on Twitter. He's a chief engagement officer at Ketchum. And he's very big in the UK, has a lot of followers. And a few weeks or months back, he started making a Google Sheet with PR tools because he also thinks that there are many great tools, but people don't know about them. And there wasn't one place where you could see all those tools. And Stephen used to be, last year, he was the president of CYPR, the Chartered Institute for Public Relations. And he made a lot of proposals during that year. And I think now now that he just stopped being the president, he still wants to make a big difference. And he wants to make a very handy, practical difference. So he started this list. And he tweeted about it to his 15,000 followers. And soon people started helping out. They started adding info. They started adding tools to this open source Google spreadsheet.
Now, when you say tools, let's be very clear for the people who listen to us. We're talking about online tools. We're talking about internet tools, web-based tools, which can have an impact on public relations, which a PR officer can use in his or her day-to-day work, right? So is that correct?
Definitely. There's a broad range of tools in there. There are channels in there, like just Instagram is linked in there, or Hyperlabs is linked up in there to give an overview of all channels PR professionals can use. But the main goal is to list practical tools that just make life easier for PR pros. Tools to get better at SEO, tools to get better at social listening, tools to get better at managing your contacts. And there are a lot of tools popping up. It's not just the huge monster, the Decision plus Gorkana plus Focus. Yeah. This is the one big dinosaur in the industry. There are a lot of initiatives popping up. And my company is one of them. And when I saw the initiative by Wags, I was intrigued and I thought, let's help this guy. Let's be the geeks that PR needs and help to make it easier to update that list.
That's a great. Just hold there. It's a great tagline that you just used. Be the geeks PR needs. That's really a good tagline. You have to take it down somewhere and register it as a trademark.
Yeah, that's why we started prgeeks.co.
Yeah.
It is obvious that PR needs more geeks. PR professionals, traditionally, they're very good at coming up with communication strategies, with influencing people. So they're good at that communication and relationships and these things. But you rarely see geeky people in PR. And that really reflects in the way that agencies work. In many of especially in the big agencies or at big brands, it is painful to see how hard they struggle with tools, with practicalities, just because it's always been this way. And I guess they are flooded with stuff that they need to do, that they don't look for or rarely look for handy tools that can help them innovate.
Yeah, no, and that's completely right. That's why me, for instance, I'm giving training to PR colleagues or in-house PR people just to, show them which tools are there and what is working and what is not working. While at the same time understanding that, most of the time a tool is not like the silver bullet. It's the way you work. But there are some tools that definitely can help you do your PR day in, day out much better and more efficient than a lot of people are doing today, definitely. So that is what PR Stack is. How many PR tools are listed there in there now? Because this is an initiative that started a couple of months ago, but now you have this interface that you guys built, which is really beautiful, at prstack.co. How many tools do you have in there?
I think a few days ago there were 100. Yesterday there were 150, and there are tools being added as we speak. I think at any given point in time, there are about 50 people on the site browsing it. And so how it works very practically is you have this Google spreadsheet that anyone can update. And this serves as the database, as the content for this website. Mm-hmm. So we just built a beautiful shell around this open source database.
Yeah, so it looks great. Yeah, it really looks great. I mean, it's a very well designed website. It's straightforward. And behind that, it's driven by a Google spreadsheet. So anyone in the PR industry can add stuff in there. Is that how I see it?
Yeah, that was the basic premise of it. Wads and I sat down for a few beers a few weeks ago, and we came up with this idea to do this. So when I proposed it, and one of the first things we said is this should stay community driven. There won't be any gatekeepers. or there won't be any bottlenecks of people adding tools to it. Anyone can contribute to it. And anyone can even remove stuff from it, or anyone can update it. It's like a wiki, but a good-looking wiki. And we added some extra stuff on top of it. There's also a community aspect around it. For example, you can see people can favorite tools, and then you can see what the favorite tools of people are. So you can see for some people that they favorite, let's say, 10, 15 tools. And then you can get a good view of what's important for them.
So yeah, so if I would add stuff, I mean, for my day-to-day work, if I just think, just like this top of mind, my favorite tools or the tools I use every day, it's Evernote would get a lot of points in my case, Slack would get a lot of points in my case, and then probably the whole Google environment kind of thing. And then for social listening, not doing any advertising, but I'm using a couple of online monitoring tools. So I would put them in there as well. Yeah. And then people...
It is interesting to see.
Can people then vote like on the tool saying, I'm using this as well. I think it's fabulous. And then it goes up in ranking, or it gets just more stars or kind of thing?
That's it. It's for now. We started with very basic star rating. Yeah. You can just say, I like this. I favorite this. This is a tool I like. And then there's an overview of all the tools, and you can see the ones that are very popular. And the part that I like a lot is that you can follow people. For example, yesterday I invited a few big guns from the PR industry. For example, you can see Danny Wetmo. He's the digital director at Weber Shandwick in London. And if you look at his profile, it's very interesting to see which tools he uses.
Yeah.
And so he's a good example for other people. Like people might be wondering what are the tools that Danny likes, tools that he promotes. And this way you can discover a lot of new tools that you can try out. So I think this community aspect is essential to it, and that might be something we elaborate on later on.
How would you, because the names that you mention are people who are already very much into the digital thing. I mean, they are public relations people, but they do specialize or have a responsibility in the digital environment. Not every one of us. I mean, some people do very basic media relations, which is still very important in public relations. How would you see that happening? So it's an inspiration. People can say, well, this person is really into social and online comms, but I can, piggyback on his or her experience. Is that the way it would work?
I think so. And I guess that there will be ambassadors. I got some messages from some key players at agencies that said that they would be sharing it internally in the agency. And I can see this being used as a handy tool in agencies or in teams where they just use this to present tools internally.
Yeah.
When they have idea sharing sessions, inspiration sessions, that they just use this tool to say, today we'll review these and these tools, or do it in some way. It seems like a handy way for ambassadors to collaborate with people in their agency.
I think what would be interesting as well, I just read a very good article about the impact of technology and open source and different approaches in the agency model, is that it will be interesting to see which people from agencies, which kind of tools they use, and then how their in-house counterparts are, using the same tools or not, or none at all, because I do think that there is a need for transparency between the agency world and the in-house world, and that technology will allow this. So I think that will be a very interesting space to follow through this initiative, to see, how transparent all these tools and the ways of working become in between, between agencies and in-house people.
Indeed, that could go a long way further there. There's a lot of opportunities there. I think that a lot of in-house teams will be disappointed by their agencies. Because I visit a lot of agencies, and it is painful to see how many of them are still struggling with technology. It seems the bigger they are, the more they're struggling.
Well, I recently went into an agency, it was a long time ago, and I still saw a lot of Excel sheet stuff happening where, come on, people, we're in the 21st century, we have databases. But
everywhere.
I know.
I think 90% of agencies that I go to for influencer relationship management and media relationship management, Excel is the go-to tool. It has been for 10 years.
It's incredible. I've been in this business for 23 years, and that's how I started out with an Excel sheet, but I quickly moved over to a database. But it's incredible to see that is still the basic tool to do influencer relations, media relations, and all these things. It's so
to do anything. I think in any organization, in any sector you go to, they're solving everything with Excel. It's just practical. It works pretty good, but it has its limitations. It's very painful to see. I remember from a few months back, I was at a huge agency in UK, and I saw an intern sitting there, someone that was just starting out, and her task of the day was to populate an Excel sheet with influencers and to update their amount of followers on Twitter.
Wow.
So what she did is she would go to row 1, find the Twitter handle of someone, go to Twitter, look at the amount of followers that person had, go back to the Excel sheet, paste it in there.
My God.
And as a geek, if I see these things, I cringe and I think, come on, let me help you. Let me write a macro for this, and we could solve this in an hour.
Again, I mean, that's your reaction as a geek. I consider myself a public relations professional, and to me, that is it is frightening. I mean, first of all, I wouldn't want to, and I'll be very blunt here. I wouldn't want to work in that kind of environment. I wouldn't really want the next generation of students coming out of universities to start out like that. I think that is not really, what our profession should be. And on the other hand, I really wouldn't like to be a client because you have to pay every 15 minutes that someone is filling in an Excel sheet. Okay, so prstack.co, that is the place to go to find out all about the new shiny tools that can help us PR people doing our job more efficiently. And then the other initiative is prgeeks.co. So what is that all about?
It is the companion site for PR Stack, where PR Stack gives you an overview of all the tools. And with PR Geek, we try to give a bit more context and try to give you hands-on advice on how you can go about becoming more of a PR geek. So there are, at the top, you see that there are a lot of Twitter chats there that we link to that are about geeky PR things. There are some articles in there about how you can get better at using tools. We link to podcasts. There are 2 podcasts in there. I might link to this one too.
Well, I suggested my podcast, of course. It's already in there. It's under moderation, probably.
And also this initiative, we want to crowdsource this. So for every type of content that there is, you can suggest content. And then here we do keep it under moderation, or we moderate it. And then we make this a bigger resource. I think where we see this heading is a bit like an inbound.org for PR. So inbound.org is a community site that was made by the people from HubSpot, I think. Yes, people from HubSpot. And it is a very vibrant community of inbound marketers and growth hackers. Where they share new ideas, and it doesn't happen for PR yet. You have a few blogs that are popular, a few big blogs, but none of them are centered around the need for a geek or the need for to get better at tech.
Because
there is an opportunity there.
Yeah, again, I love the tagline, let's hack the PR workflow, and I think there's a lot of work to build on in that area. It does make me think, though, of an initiative which goes back like the early 2000s, where, and I think it's still online, it was called the PR Wiki, and that was a bunch of us early PR geeks coming together around the wiki and keeping lists, for instance, of who's blogging about PR, a list of already very early online monitoring tools. I think it's still out there. But this is great because it has a very user-friendly interface. It brings all these things together. So I'm just checking the site now, prgeeks.co. You've got Twitter chat handles in there, hashtags, which is great. You've got a list of blogs, articles as well, podcasts, as you said. I see there's plans to, list PR events in the UK, the US, and there's even a coming soon newsletter kind of thing. So that is the objective of bringing all these things nicely together and inspire PR people. Is that the objective?
It is. We want to have a compact overview of all the techie, nerdy things in PR. So very specific niche, very much about hands-on things. How can I get better at this? So there won't be lofty strategical things about the future of PR. It will be about what can I do in the next hour or in the next day to get better at what I'm doing. Very practical, no nonsense. That's it. But it's very in the early stages now. We're still seeing what happens, seeing what people suggest, listening to the community to see what happens, and then build on that.
Yeah. So any PR person or anyone, in fact, but let's say it's focused on public relations professionals. So anyone can again add things they like. If they know about a podcast they love about using tech in comms or in PR, then they can add it. They can at least suggest it there, right? So it's moderated and it's added if it's moderated positively, right?
Well, we started out small. Right now it links to Google Form and it just ends up in my mailbox.
Okay, yeah.
Small hack. We didn't build any fancy things around it. Let's first see if this catches on. See where the community takes us, and then we'll elaborate and we'll start tweaking it. Yeah.
Well, I'll make already a promise. One of the things. So I'm about to create a course on. How do you say that? Yeah, PR hacking. So hacking the way that you work day in, day out with different tools. So exactly what we're talking about here. And what I'll do is, one of the things I really am going to look into very deeply is using these combinations of services like Zapier and If Then That, and see how that can be combined in hacking the things that we do day in, day out, but which maybe we can also automate and do things with. So if I've got some nice formulas, then I'll put them in there as well, because I think those kind of great formulas that you can build with those tools need to be shared among the community. I mean, it shouldn't be secret.
It is. That could be a good one. It reminds me of, I think last week, Wads, who person that instigated the PR stack, made a good post about it with a lot of recipes that PR pros can use. I think it were if recipes.
Yeah.
Simple things like if people mention a hashtag, you automatically add it to a Google document, so you can have a handy overview of that. Things like that. You should check out his blog. It's Wads with 2 Ds. .co.uk.
Yeah, I'll list.
People that are listening can find it there. Also, this list of IFT PR hacks.
No, I'll list it. All these things that we mentioned here with website addresses and things like that. I'll list it in the podcast show notes and point to the right things. No, I think it's a really great space to be in at the moment. I see a lot of integrations happening as well, like. The things I'm using that I mentioned is, Slack and Evernote. So I can fully integrate these things. I can create Evernote notes from Slack updates. I can integrate totally different things as well. So it's really becoming a really interesting space for PR people who want to be productive and, automate maybe some of the less interesting things and make time for really meeting up with journalists or doing face-to-face stuff. So great space to be in.
It is there are so many moving parts now, and it will only become harder that it is necessary to string them together in some way.
Yeah.
Or else you're just jumping from service to service all day, not getting much work done. A lot to be done there.
So where do you see this? So this is like what? Is this a side project? It's like you guys putting time in there for the better of the profession. But how do you see this moving forward? These two initiatives.
Well, it is a side project for now because I'm a founder of Prezly. I spend 10-15 hours per day working on my own project, and this is a side project, and we'll see how far this goes. For us, of course, it is a good way to position ourselves as the experts that help PR pros with technology. But we only do this because we're committed to this and that we believe that this is necessary.
Yeah. No,
super necessary.
And I think from your point of view, it does make sense. Your company Prezly.com is all about technology for PR people, and I do think it's a great positioning. But at the same time, there is a need for people like yourselves to be involved in the PR industry, because otherwise, in the next 20 years, we'll do another podcast and talk about Excel sheets again. So that's not the objective, or can't be the objective at least. Tell us a bit more, just shortly, what Prezly does. I know it, but our listeners don't know. So, pitch Prezly for what? Briefly? 30 seconds, briefly.
Okay, well, we help agencies and brands get better at media relations, and also move from traditional media relations to influencer relations. In a nutshell, we help them escape Excel hell. We help them move from this old school database to a really modern CRM built specifically for PR people. Mm-hmm. We work with a lot of big brands, big agencies. Say in Belgium, we work with, I guess, all the agencies apart from Edelman. We work with Ketchum, Intergel, Weber Strandvik, Porto Novelli, all of them. And we help them get rid of their Excel sheets. And we help them get a better grip on their contacts. Help them really understand who are important influencers for them, and we give them the means to reach out to these people, to pitch their stories to them, to measure these things, and to bring the stories that they're usually putting in a PDF in the mailbox of a journalist. We help them put these stories on social media, so they have a much longer shelf life and can be read by a lot more people.
Yeah,
that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Okay. Great stuff. Just to close down, what would be your top advice to PR people who are maybe not so technology savvy? What would be your number one advice at this point in time?
If you have enough people at the office, if you have some room, hire 4 geeks, or make sure that it is part of the profile, that when you're looking for people, that you at least have a few people that are tech testers. Mm-hmm. I'd advise to have monthly technology reviews where people at the office present tools to each other, even in small teams. I'd advise you to check out the PR stack and to just plan it in your agenda. Every month we do a review of technology. This person has to do it. That's just it, putting technology and technology exploration on the agenda. And now there are no excuses. Of your company. There are no excuses. There is this handy overview. You can see what the big guns are doing, what the big people in the industry are doing, or the thought leaders. So it's a matter of putting it on your to-do list and structuring it.
Great stuff. Okay, well, thanks for the time you made today, Frederik. It was great talking to you. We have to meet up face to face one of these. Yeah. And thanks for both initiatives. I'll list all the links on the website of Wag the Dog, and hope that a lot of our listeners are, either will visit it or contribute or do both of the things, because we really need that. So thanks again.
Welcome, Philip. Great talking to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I love these interviews with my Belgian colleagues who are so innovative and giving us these great initiatives on making our life, day-to-day life as PR people and professionals, a bit easier. So great stuff from the guys at Prezly there. And by the way, you'll be happy that you're listening to this podcast of Wag The Dog FM. I arranged for you guys, just the listeners of this show, to be able to trial Prezly, so the software to publish social media press releases and create very modern newsrooms you can use that, or you can trial it for a full month instead of just 2 weeks, just because you're listening to this show. So if you want to trial Prezly for a full month with all the features active and really, test it out at 200%, send an email to Wag the Dog. You can get that on the website, wagthedog.fm, or on my other website, which is exactly the same thing, onlineprtraining.com. You've got a contact form in there. So send me an email. Clearly state that you've listened to the show and that you want to trial Prezly for a full month with all features active. And I'll pass it on to the guys. They'll set you up and then you can test the system. So exclusively for you, my dear listeners. Good. Now, brings me to another thing. These topics like, using tools for our jobs, PR hacks, in fact, that will be a main topic for my next training course. I'll start with a face-to-face training course, set it up in Brussels probably. But I will also make an online training course about using technology in your day-to-day life. Like, for instance, I'll be talking about using Evernote to organize all your notes, all your documents, all your press releases, all your information in one very nice organized background. I'll be talking about Slack for, bringing teams together and working with teams in agencies or outside of agencies or within PR groups inside companies. So I'll be doing that. So if you're interested in these kind of topics, please subscribe to the mailing list if you're not yet subscribed, and I'll keep you updated. Again, thanks for listening. This was, for me at least, again, a very interesting show. I learn enormously by doing these interviews, and I hope you hear that and that you like it as well. And until the next time, as I always said at the end of the show, do the right thing.
Keep the peace.